Now we're going to get some accountability. You better believe it. There's going to be some heads that roll. I have no doubt the indictments are coming. Kash Patel going through those burn bags as we speak with his team, and something's going to give. Tulsi wants it. John Ratcliffe from the CIA wants it. Kash Patel from the FBI wants it. Dan Bongino, also at FBI, wants it. And the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, wants it. Listen to John Ratcliffe here.
So what I think I hear you saying is there is still an opportunity for indictments, potential prosecutions, accountability from those people who may have lied under oath, like John Brennan, James Comey, and perhaps Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's why I've made the referrals that I have. DNI Gabbard has made referrals, and why we're going to continue to share the intelligence that would support the ability of our Department of Justice to make bring fair and just claims against those who have perpetrated this hoax against the American people and this stain on our country.
Director, one other question on this. Tulsi, as well as President Trump, used the word
treason was what she went on to say. Tulsi used the word treason. President Trump has used the word treason. Because when you are trying to do everything you can to set back a president that the American people elected, I mean, is that not some version of treason? Again, get over your politics, people. You lost, okay? Be a good sport. Move on. Try to find areas where you can work together for the sake of the country, for the sake of the economy, for the sake of our national security. And yet nobody was willing to do that because they all had some you-know-what up there, you-know-what, because it was Donald Trump, okay? And, we never heard about all the intel that they'd been collecting on Hillary Clinton. Oh, yeah. So, if I'm just saying, if Putin really wanted to take her down, you don't think he would have gone with the internal claims? Courtesy of page 17, thanks to Tulsi, of the Russian intel that Hillary was on, quote, heavily tranquilizers and suffering, quote, intensified psycho-emotional problems, that there was evidence of severe health issues. I mean, I'm just saying, if the Russians really, really wanted to make her life difficult, I think they certainly could have in a bigger way. But what we've learned is they didn't really care who necessarily won anything. They just kind of wanted to play with us. And play with us they did. Indeed, they did, because, heck, it didn't take much. Obama was willing to play all day long. This was his game, right? He was willing, though he did Putin's job for him. That's the tragedy of all of this. Severe tragedy. You know what? Obama and his team, they're all panicking right now. And you know what? That's good. They deserve everything they're going to be getting. Peter Strzok of Lisa Page fame, right? Peter and Lisa, the dynamic duo. He was the one who said to her, his heartthrob at the time, I think they both were married, something to the effect of, well, he's not really going to win. And he said to her, oh no, we're not going to let it. They're going to control this? Peter Strzok has just gone through and deleted all of his social media messages. Meanwhile, I want to play you a little clip from 2020 of the guy that used to have Tulsi's job. Tulsi, who they also, by the way, accused of being a Russian spy, because you see, she was a competitor to Hillary Clinton, and Hillary's got some sharp elbows. Don't you come near me. Hey, you can have my guy any day of the week. Monica, fine, I'll stay married. But don't come near me on the political podium. Tulsi, you dare, I'm going to label you a Russian spy, which is exactly what they did. Think about that. A woman who had fought and risked her life for our country. That's what Hillary's team did to her. Well, here is Clapper, who used to have Tulsi's job. I want to take you back to 2020, and then we're going to see what he's saying now. Here he is, lying, and lying some more.
Obama. So, Director, a bunch of questions from this. Let me just start with this. How much does the source matter, right? So you hear the story of this laptop. We don't know a lot. We do know that the way that this information is getting out is through Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani. How much does the source matter here?
Well, source matters a lot, and the timing matters a lot, I think. And to me, this is just classic textbook Soviet-Russian tradecraft at work. The Russians have analyzed the target. They understand that the president and his enablers crave dirt on Vice President Biden, whether it's real or contrived, it doesn't matter to them. And so all of a sudden, two and a half weeks before the election, this laptop appears somehow without, and emails on it without any metadata. It's all very curious. But so here you have a willing target, and the Russians, who are very sophisticated about how to exploit a willing target. And to me, that's what's at work here.
And so, you know, when you try to figure out the specifics of, you know, whether that meeting email, for example, is real in the midst of this, do you think stuff like that could just have been planted in there and be completely fake?
I do. I think the emails could be contrived, particularly since, as I understand it from what I've read, they appear without any metadata. That is, you know, from, to, and any technical data, at least immediately evident. Now, if this computer is in the hands of the FBI, they have obviously excellent, sophisticated technical and forensic analytic capabilities, and I think they'll be able to sort it out, whether this is genuine or not. But, you know, it's all pretty curious, given, again, 2.5 weeks out from the election.
Woo! Okay, so he's calling it classic Russian stagecraft. And yet, you guys, you know what he knew? You know what the FBI knew the entire time? That it was actually all legit. So think about that. They're trying to say, oh, you know, because it was Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani and that somehow none of it was real, and that Hunter Biden, well, you know, he's a real stand-up guy, right? Whatever. That it wasn't his laptop. And yet, oh, you better believe it was his laptop. I mean, think about it. The New York Post, one of the oldest newspapers in the country, founded by Alexander Hamilton, gets its Twitter account shut down because this team was like, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you. And they had CNN and the New York Times and the Washington Post and everybody else, NBC, MSNBC in their back pocket. And so they thought they had all the credibility. So he was out there lying through his teeth, knowing that he's lying. I mean, don't forget the 51X spooks that signed off to this whole thing. And now, what do you know? The chickens are coming home to roost, and he is having to lawyer up. You better believe he is.
When the director says that she's referred these filings to the Justice Department for a criminal investigation, tonight we're told they formed what is called a strike force. Do you have concerns that they will attempt to prosecute you?
Well, certainly I do. You know, after 8.5 years of this, and I don't know of an intelligence product that was more scrutinized, more investigated than that product was by numerous people.
Right, except that you guys hid everything, because it is not until now that we're finding the burn bags with thousands of documents in the hidden room at the Hoover Building.
You know, it's very disconcerting. It really is. And I take seriously when the President of the United States accuses me of being a participant in a treasonous conspiracy, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, what's your reaction to that?
It's ridiculous. It is untrue.
So I'm sorry. Again, I just heard you. We have this little thing called tape. What do you know? We can actually go and see what you said in 2020. We just saw what you said in 2020. You said that it was just classic Russian stagecraft. That's what the Hunter Biden laptop was. I mean, you had 51 of you all signing on saying it was bogus, all while you knew the FBI was investigating him and that laptop. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And they just lied. And, you know, he seems really credible, and he's older, and he seems, you know, he kind of looks the part, right? So you're like, hang on, like, who's right, who's wrong? I'll tell you, the American public figured it out.
What is your plan?
Well, I'll lawyer up, I suppose. Already have.
You've already hired attorneys in case of, in anticipation that this Trump Justice Department could try to prosecute you.
We've had sort of perpetual attorneys since I left the government in 2017.
Yeah, you better keep those attorneys on speed dial, because they're coming after you for everything they possibly can. This is a real investigation. Pam Bondi wants indictments. Everyone wants indictments, if for no other reason than to ensure that this kind of stuff never, ever happens again. I want you to hear Senator Rand Paul, who's out for blood himself. Here he is speaking with my former colleague, Jesse Waters, on Fox. Listen.
Is an exchange between the CIA analyst and Brennan, and one CIA analyst says that this is nothing more than opposition research. It's unverified. And Brennan's sort of flippant response is, yeah, but doesn't it really ring true? Doesn't it really sound like it could be true? And so that's sort of the flippant nature he had, and an indication that even in his hand-picked analysts, he picked the analysts that would ultimately be with him, you know, to create this narrative. And yet he lied to Congress. I think without question they can get him on lying to Congress. But this really was a cabal. I mean, I can't even remember the stories from the time, contemporaneous stories saying, well, yeah, we're going to spread this information throughout government so the Trump people can't destroy it when they come in. But people didn't really know at the time that the information was from the Clinton campaign, or the public didn't know that. The people within John Brennan knew this. But, you know, at the time, Brennan's nomination came up. I was the only one in the Senate to oppose it. I actually filibustered for 13 hours against John Brennan. So I've known from the beginning that he was a scoundrel. And yes, he should be prosecuted. I think there's enough evidence in here.
Do you hear that? He's a scoundrel. He should be prosecuted. And there's enough evidence in here. Unbelievable. I mean, like, it's sad. It's sad. You don't want to think that your government does this. This is straight out of Latin America or some crazy emerging market in Africa or God knows where. This is not what we do as Americans, okay? I get it. You know what? It's a tough fight, but at some point somebody wins, just like in any good game, right? And you're a good sportsman. And you shake hands and you move on. And that's how our government is supposed to work. Unless, of course, you're Barack Obama and you just can't take the fact that Donald Trump, your nemesis, is the one that took you down. Hillary couldn't pull it off after all, and she's got her own ego challenges to worry about. And so you feed a narrative over and over and over and over again to the dumb, stupid, idiotic media that cannot think for itself, as Don Lemon so clearly proved over and over again over on CNN.
May be the biggest lie of all, repeatedly and with no facts to back him up, making the outrageous claim that the so-called deep state spied on his campaign. He did it again today.
But I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is.
It's not true. It's a lie.
No, it wasn't. You're lying. And you're too stupid to have done any of your own research to have figured out anything other than what you were being spoon-fed by the deep state narratives that were trying to flood the airwaves, okay? Like, that's what's so wrong with these people. They never stop to think about who's the source and how can I check independently to make sure this is true.
Did the intelligence community spy on President Trump and his campaign?
No, we did not.
This is not
Yes, you did.
just an angry president popping off. This is a deliberate and coordinated effort to save his presidency, to cast doubt on the Russia investigation by repeating a lie, repeating it every chance he gets. And that repetition is a key part of the strategy here, because if you hear him say the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah. Okay, let's fast forward to the president.
A new report accusing President Obama's CIA of curating the 2016 Russia collusion hoax by asking foreign intelligence agencies to illegally spy on the Trump campaign.
John Brennan had identified 26 Trump associates for the Five Eyes to target. A source confirmed that the IC had identified them as people to bump or make contact with or manipulate. They were targets of our own IC and law enforcement, targets for collection and misinformation.
You know, you think about this, and I know that they're panicking right now. I know they're really terrified. And I think about just the role of the media and all of it. Obviously, something that's really important to me as a member of the media and as somebody who's been on that other side of things and seen how it all plays out, and the hysteria that was there, that was clearly coming from up high. Brendan Carr, who's head of Trump's FCC, recently brought this up. He said what was amazing about Trump is he was actually able to break through all of that legacy media narrative that was trying to tear him down at every single turn. And he was able to speak directly to the American people. I mean, a lot of what we're able to do here on this show. Thank you, guys. Make sure you subscribe, share, like. But let me play you this sound. Here he is speaking with my friend Rob over on Newsmax. Let's take a quick listen.
Yeah, something really significant is happening right here. And it goes back to President Trump. When he ran for office again, he ran directly at these legacy national broadcasters. And for years, people cowed down to the executives behind these companies based in Hollywood, in New York, and they just accepted that these national broadcasters could dictate how people think about topics, that they could set the narrative for the country. And President Trump fundamentally rejected it. He smashed the facade that these are gatekeepers that can determine what people think. And everything that we're seeing right now flows from that decision by President Trump, and he's winning. I mean, look, PBS has been defunded. NPR has been defunded. CBS is committing to restoring fact-based journalism. And you see it, everything from, Joy Reid is gone at MSNBC. All these things aren't isolated pinpricks. They go back to this emperor has no clothes moment where President Trump stood up to these legacy media gatekeepers, and now their business models are falling apart.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, right? So now the question becomes, not only is the media falling apart as we knew it, and their business models, right, are being sacrificed in part because of this new world in which we live. Thank you very much. And it's great to be over here. And as we approach 1 million subs, I would just also say that the director of the CIA calling for these indictments of Brennan, Comey, Hillary, for Gabbard to want Obama's head on a platter, as does Donald Trump. I mean, this is very serious stuff. And to her point, you know what, you need to believe, right, in America and in the system, and you need to have some faith and trust in institutions. And if you don't have that, we don't have much of a country. And so it's really critical that that faith be restored for the sake of all parties. Here she is, Tulsi Gabbard.
Dean delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people, and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people.
Okay, so those are strong words. A coup. Again, it feels very Banana Republic-esque. Why were they doing this? Because they couldn't take that he had won. And so they were trying to convince everyone that he was some kind of Manchurian candidate. We have more coming up, but first a quick shout out for our great sponsor. One of our great sponsors here on the Trish Regan Show, Balance in Nature. Code word Trish, TRISH, for 35% off. You can give them a ring as well. I'm going to put the number in the show link, but it's 1-800-246-8751. 1-800-246-8751. You know, it's a great company. They'll help you'll feel better, right? Because you're taking your vitamins. You got to drink a lot of water and get your exercise and hopefully eat right. Try to take your fruits and veggies, or eat your fruits and veggies, but if you can't eat them every day, get these, because you can, find another form of it. I take the fruits and veggies. I like them very much, and I take them every day, and they're really good and healthy for you, and it helps me with my vitamin D and a few other things. I encourage you to go look at this company. Really, really, really great stuff, and a wonderful supporter of the show, and we thank them for all they do here on the Trish Regan Show. You can help support them and us, and yourself, importantly yourself, by going and checking out balanceinnature.com using my code word Trish, TRISH, for 35% off, plus free shipping, plus a free money-back guarantee. No harm, no foul. You don't like it, no harm done. You can return it for full money back. But it's balanceofnature.com. And you think about all those ingredients, right, that go into everything, it seems, these days, that RFK Jr. is working really hard to get rid of. Heck, we may not even have sugar in Coca-Cola before it's all said and done. No more corn syrup, right? They're looking for, cane sugar instead, healthier stuff. Anyway, these guys have been about that for a whole long time. So I do encourage you to take a look at balanceofnature.com. But I'm watching here what's happening in real time. And I got to tell you, I am thrilled that people are being called out, and it looks like accountability is coming. And I know everybody's nervous and they're saying nothing's going to happen. I don't think you're right on that. I think on this, we are actually going to see some heads roll.